And now, in studio, bringing his Midwest values from the Show Me State to the land of San Diego. He's a triple threat, licensed as an attorney, mortgage broker, and a top producing realtor who's crushing the competition. Here to deliver you what's happening in the trenches of the market. Your host, Michael Gaddis.
Welcome back to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of michaelgaddis.com and frontierloangroup.com. We're going to be continuing our conversation with Greg Hemfar of gfhfinancial.com. That's gfhfinancial.com. So, Greg, you're an independent financial planner, is that correct?
Correct.
Well, can you tell me a little bit about the benefits and maybe the drawbacks of working with an independent financial planner?
Well, from my prior work experience, I kind of learned a lot about the ins and outs of the business. And when I decided to go and become a financial advisor planner, I definitely chose the independent route because of the freedom, the autonomy, the ability to do what's best for my client. I have more autonomy to choose product, whereas in a former life as a former product manager, I was limited to, and this is often the case with other wirehouses, banks, regional offices. I had limited product because there's only so much product I could manage back then. So as an independent, I'm able to go out, choose for example, the highest fixed rate annuity possible for a client. That's from an investment grade company. Without that ability, I'm limited. If I'm a captive agent, I'm selling proprietary products.
I got you. So you have more flexibility and diversity as an independent than you would working for a big entity.
Absolutely.
Wow. So are there any drawbacks to working with an independent? I mean, let's be fair. Are there, we said one side. Are there any drawbacks to working with an independent?
Definitely there are. You won't often hear this, but an independent financial advisor, given more autonomy, can make mistakes.
I see.
They can do things that are not appropriate or they're just not aware of, and there's not as much supervision. Back in the bank days, being very conservative, I was the one who told the financial advisors and brokers what they could and could not sell, and to whom. Nobody is doing that in the independent channel.
I see. So basically, when you're working for an institution of some sort, basically they have a pool of products that you can choose from, and that's pretty much the range of what you can do. But as an independent financial planner, you have the ability to kind of open up the reins and look at things that other people can't. But by doing so, there's always a little bit more risk that, you might be taking a little bit more of a chance because you're not just kind of spearheaded towards the products that maybe an institutional financial planner wants you to go to.
That's true. Basically, every independent advisor who's securities licensed must be registered with a broker-dealer. And that broker-dealer is responsible for the compliance. The compliance the management of products is definitely not set at an independent broker-dealer. They'll sign a lot of different companies. They'll allow more products to be sold. So there's the tolerance towards risk is not as adverse. So there's definitely more autonomy in the independent channel. So it's more important than ever to do the due diligence on a broker who's independent.
Well, you're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of michaelgaddis.com and frontierloangroup.com. And we're speaking with Greg Hemfar of gfhfinancial.com. Now, Greg, let me ask you a question, because I get confused because sometimes I think, do I need a financial planner? Do I not? Who needs a financial planner? What type of person needs a financial planner?
My answer to that would be just about everybody out there. A lot of people are scared off by thinking that a financial planner is going to charge fees here and there, or I don't have the assets that a financial advisor would look for. That's simply not the case. Financial advisors can work with people who are, for example, in their 20s or even teens that are saving. If you're working, You can contribute to a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, and I have several folks contributing $25, $50 a month.
So what you're saying is that basically the financial planning world is open to everyone, and that, you know, it's kind of like tax laws. People always say, oh, the tax laws, they're only for the rich. But the truth is, the tax laws are open to everyone. It's just a lot of times the wealthier people tend to utilize the tax laws a little bit more, but they're open to everybody. So in this instance, the financial planner, access to a financial planner is available to anyone. And, you know, so if you're sitting at home and you're renting a house right now, and maybe you're in your early 20s and you're thinking, wow, I'm just getting started here, you know, I don't really need a financial planner at this point, they're probably wrong. They probably need a financial planner.
There's a lot that can be uncovered. I typically will look at a client statement who's not a client of mine, who's a prospective client, and easily be able to eliminate fees left and right. In addition, a lot of people can use me as a financial planner, have access to tax information, estate planning information, retirement information at really no cost. I have clients that literally don't pay me anything. The companies themselves pay me.
Oh, wow. So so basically people can get advice from someone like you at very little or no cost to themselves.
And often somebody will be doing it themselves and managing a portfolio. And what I can do is come along and say, hey, I can find the exact same exchange traded fund that you have in a mutual fund that pays a lot. The expense ratio is such that my fee that I charge is more than offset by the reduction in expense between these two products. I
have to be honest with you, Greg, and every time I talk to a financial planner or someone like yourself, I get very, very depressed. And the reason is because when I was in my early 20s, going through college, and I worked through college, and then right after I got out of college, I had a hobby. And my hobby was saltwater aquariums. I was obsessed with it.
Nice.
I spent thousands of dollars on fish that lived for maybe 2 to 3 weeks at most. Corals, fish, salt changes, lighting changes. If I would have used the money that I spent on all that ridiculous hobby and gave it to someone like yourself, I can't even imagine what kind of financial position I'd be in today.
I can say the same for myself. I had freshwater aquariums.
Oh, yeah.
Freshwater aquariums. But what I find today is get in the habit of saving. Put away a little bit of what you earn for retirement. You know, people saving for retirement are working hard for their money. They should be putting away at least 10 to 15% if they can each year.
Well, I think a lot of people don't think about it because it's, especially the younger people, because they're like, well, that's so far off, I don't need to worry about that. You know, my daughter, I give her an allowance every month. She gets an allowance. And she has got like holes in her pockets. Every time I give her money, it literally falls out on the ground, and she comes back with these little, I don't know what they're called, these little tiny little toys, and all over the place. She's only 8 years old. And I said, Allison, I said, you spend money faster than you can get it in, because she's always asking me to put, to basically give her credit against her next month to buy these things. And I'm thinking, you know what? You need a financial planner, Allison. You need a financial planner.
Send her my way.
Yeah, those little things you're buying now, in 2 weeks you're going to be sitting in the back of your closet, and then you're going to want more money, and the value went down. Now you can't resell them. So, I only use that as an illustration that what you're saying is true. Financial planning can begin as early as you basically want it to begin, and to basically, teach people the importance of planning, and the importance, because it keeps coming back to that word planning for me. I've had estate planners on my show, I've had tax planners, I've had all kinds of planners. The word planning is the most prominent word in my show. And having a certified financial planner on here, I think all of you listening probably don't even realize what kind of value someone like Greg Hemfar can bring to you. I mean, you don't even have a concept of how you're sitting there at 23 years old right now, and then when you're like 46 or 50, what you would be looking at if you were to listen to someone like Greg.
Everybody in hindsight looks back and says the same thing. I wish I had put away more. If there's a lot that can be said for that. Tax deferral, okay, is a powerful strategy. Compounding, a powerful strategy. I look at small business owners, for example, that don't have retirement plans. When they're paying at the end of the year the federal government thousands of dollars in taxes, when they could be offsetting those federal income taxes by making contributions to retirement plans such as a simplified employee pension plan, SEP, or a solo 401k plan. And that money saved, for example, let's say somebody's able to contribute, as an example, $30,000 to a SEP IRA each year. They may save themselves from having to pay $10,000 in federal income tax. That $10,000 stays in their pocket, gets invested, grows tax deferred, and compounds, and becomes a great deal of money when they need it in retirement.
Wow, that's kind of like what you don't know. I mean, you're running around running a business, you don't know this, you're paying your tax bill, and here you got somebody telling you, look, I can save you money just by doing, planning, just by putting, setting you up a savings retirement plan. That's amazing stuff, and I think it's one of those things where you don't want to have a case of the what ifs. You don't want to be one of those people who, when you're 50 years old, dream about a time machine that you can go back in time and shake yourself when you're 23, saying, what are you thinking? Don't do that. Start planning. You don't want to be that. So if you have the ability to plan, then that's what you definitely need to do. Well, after the break, we're going to continue our conversation with Greg Himfar of GFHfinancial.com. We're going to ask him that magic question that I talk about every week. What about reverse mortgages? You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer.